Okay, so this is the video explaining the deck and my choices behind it. First off, I was going through all the red cards that are legal in Modern, and I came across Runeflare Trap and Molten Psych, and I thought to myself, these two can make a pretty good deck together. Now, I'm sure it's been done before, um, but I've been working on this deck extensive. Well, I won't say extensively, but a little bit, a few hours every night for the past couple month or two. It's gone through a lot of different iterations. Uh, like the first thing is it didn't always have talismans. It had stuff like Felwar Stone and um, just stuff that made colorless mana. And I thought to myself, the talismans would probably be better. I mean, you hit yourself for one to get a red mana, but it's better than you know playing something that's almost always just going to give colorless. Um, Also, I had what's it called? I think Spiteful. I had Spiteful Visions in the deck, and then I realized it was too expensive, and it made you take damage too. I didn't like that. It was nice when it comboed with Molten Sight because your opponent would take a lot more damage, but I don't know. I just felt like it was too expensive of a card. Font does two cards instead of one and doesn't do damage, and I just preferred that. Um, I also had the red version of Twin Cast until I actually saw Increasing Vengeance, and I thought to myself, one that you can use later in the game with a flashback, that's amazing. I mean, there's been games I've played with this deck where I've had enough mana to sit there and Molten Psych, or I've been able to like Runeflare Trap, Increasing Vengeance, and then like cast it again from the graveyard. And four Runeflare Traps to the face is not fun. Um, Slagstorm, I like. Uh, I'm using this one because it was the cheapest board clear that I could find. Cheaper than Anger of the Gods and cheaper than Flame Break. But I also like how it can hit players. That's also nice. So if you need just those last few points of damage, it's nice to be able to just like Slagstorm, Increasing Vengeance, 6 damage to each player. I like that. And up until a few days ago, Seismic Assault's place in the deck was Psychosis Crawler, which is which was a decent card. The only reason, like Psychosis Crawler in testing, was nice. The only thing is, of course, decks with creature removal we're just like, yay, a creature I could finally kill. Um, but against like the Angel's Grace decks, it was nice because you know it says damage that reduces you to like less than one can't kill you, but it's not damage. Your opponent loses a life. So there's been times where I played against that deck, and it's they play their Angel's Grace. I'm just like, that's fine. I'll just draw a card, and you're at you go from 1 to 0 and you lose. um, Maybe it's not Angel's Grace I'm thinking of, but I know like the lose life thing gets around one of those cards. Um, Galvanic Blast over Lightning Bolt because I have run a lot of artifacts. For each of Howling Mine, Temple Bell, and Font. I think that out of the three of those, Temple Bell is my favorite because you can choose when to use it. The one of the biggest downsides to this deck is if you're playing against something like green or even like white, anything that has like artifact destruction main deck, red even, it sucks because it's just like they'll get their one or two cards and then they'll kill it before your turn and you got nothing. So that's one of the downsides. And I didn't get back to the Seismic Assault. The reason I chose Seismic Assault over Psychosis Crawler is I like it because once you reach 5 mana, that's pretty much all you need to just Increasing Vengeance and Molten Psych. You don't need to go above that. I mean, obviously I do if I'm playing against blue because I want to get around counter spells, but any lands you draw extra, it's nice to just be able to fire them off at creatures or your opponent's face. And even a game where you go to Molten Psych and you just don't have enough to kill them, it's nice if you have a Seismic Assault out and it's just like, oh look, I drew a couple of lands, let me just send them at the opponent's face. And that's why I really like the card. Um, so yeah, there's a deck. It's not too fancy. Honestly, everything cost me under $30 to build it, and it's fun, and that's all that matters. I don't have a sideboard for it yet because pretty much I've only been playing in the casual room with one game wins. But I don't know if somebody would like to give it a shot one time at some point. If I had more money to put into it, I would definitely probably go. I'd go two ways. I'd either go red blue and use stuff like Ebony Owl, Boomerang, and stuff like that. Vision Skeins, Sky Scribing, I think it's called. Or if I were going black, I would of course use Underworld Dreams and stuff like that. But for a mono red deck, yeah, not bad. So yeah, take it for a spin and see how you like it.